right, Mike McKenna with the Valley Chamber. Thank you so
sir.
much for sitting down with me.
Happy to be here, Zach. Yes, our official title is the Chamber of Hailey and the Wood River Valley, but it's a lot easier to go by Valley Chamber, especially locally.
Perfect. And you are the executive director of?
Yes, sir. We're a nonprofit, and I'm the executive director. Yeah.
Terrific. How long have you been here?
I have been in this position for 7 years. I was on the board for 3 years, and it was the classic where I missed a board meeting for a conference for my job at the time, and they said, "Hey, congratulations, you've been elected president of the chamber." And I went, "Oh, does it pay? Because I can't take it otherwise." And it turned out we needed the executive director was kind of going away at that point. She was moving on in life, so they had me take the job. And I'm sure, like a lot of nonprofits, I was on the board. I thought I knew a lot was going on, and then I got behind the curtain. I go, "Oh, I didn't really. There's a lot happening here."
There's a lot happening. Well, you and I were talking before the interview started, and the tentacles are everywhere, from South Valley all the way up. And
yeah, we're all over Blaine County, and,
Yeah.
and deal with the state, deal with our neighboring communities as well. And
Yeah.
I've had a lot of nicknames with this job. My favorite nickname is the group hug coordinator for Blaine County. That's my favorite. My least favorite is they call me the tick, because they said I'm just stuck into every little aspect of life here, and we're only here to help, so I guess that's fine.
Well, at least you know who calls you what. Hopefully.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least to my face. I don't know what they're saying.
So give me your background real quick. So how long have you been in the Wood River Valley? Because you're from the East Coast.
Yes, I grew up in Boston, and this is great because I'm a journalist by trade, and I always get to ask other people their Sun Valley stories, but I don't get to say mine.
Yeah, I love the Sun Valley story. How did we get here?
That's a good question. So I grew up in Boston, and in the late 70s, I was a kid in my parents' living room, kind of across the harbor from downtown Boston, a town called Hingham, if anybody knows that town. And why I didn't know this for years later, but it imprinted on I was sitting in my parents' living room, and there was a helicopter flying around a mountain town. And it just imprinted on me as a little kid, and I never forgot it. But I remembered it was called Sun Valley. And I believe it was the '78 World Cup.
Oh, wow.
And so all I knew is that, it just stuck with me. So years.
The old, like, single prop plane with the banner flying.
Well, it's just like, Wild World of Sports when we used to do that. The agony of, thrill of victory, agony of defeat.
Yeah.
I just still can visualize it in my head. And now I know it's Ketchum and Baldy, but I was like, no one in my family skied. This was not my world, but it just really connected with me. And then years later, as a young man, I moved to Taos, New Mexico after I graduated from UMass Boston, barging my way through college. And I had a chance to meet some Sun Valley people at our ski conference. And I'm like, they go, "You're going to love it to come up here." And so I eventually, in the mid-90s, moved up here with a couple of guys who wanted to be rafting guides. That worked out a little bit, but they left and I stayed. And that was about 30 years ago. And then I met and married a local gal. Brooke Pace was her maiden name, Brooke Pace McKenna. And of course, she just wanted to get out of the valley. So as soon as we met, we left.
You're falling in love with it. She grew up here.
Yeah, and I'd been here for a couple of years and knew a lot of guys. But she's like, "Let's go." So we followed. I was a journalist, started getting writing work. We moved to New Hampshire and then Mammoth Lakes, California, for a bunch of years. And then my joke was I had to knock her up twice and get offered a good job to get her to come back. And that was about 15 years ago now. Right before my second son was born, and we've been back. We lived here in Old Hailey. We loved it. And
So back in the valley for 15 years.
Back in the valley for 15 years.
Yeah.
But the 15 in between, or the 12 in between, we lived in Boise as well. We'd come back every year to see family, friends, weddings, what have you. And I always say, "Why are we living here?"
Yeah.
And eventually she got soft. But I get it. I have kids growing up here as you do. You want to get out and see the rest of the world.
It's nice to explore. But everyone I talk to, and I think you guys would have the same experience, and your wife probably too. It's like I sat down with Trevor and St. John from Johnny G's, and they were like, "We had to leave."
Yes.
So like we were just dying to go. We had to get out of town, and it was like once, because they were locals, right? Grew up here. Once they poked their head out of the bubble, they kind of started looking around, going, "How do we get back home?"
Yeah,
like, we got to go back there.
And that's fine. Yeah. You appreciate it more once you've stepped out and lived in other places. And I have lived in a bunch of ski towns. I think 5, I guess. Bend, Oregon, and Taos, New Mexico, here, Mammoth Lakes, California. But it just had everything to me.
Yeah.
So even as I like those other communities, I still have friends, and there's some great places in America, but this is the place I want to live and raise my kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And your boys are a little bit older. You've got 2 in high school.
Yeah, I have a high school senior and a high school freshman.
Yeah. And they're looking to make their, venture out of the valley. And
yeah, the older boy, since we know each other through hockey world, he's captain of the varsity team, and he's got some colleges interested into him, but he wants to go far away and get that experience.
Yeah.
But I think he said to me the other night, I think after I've done that, Dad, I'll want to come back. Then.
Yeah.
I bet he will.
Yeah. Well, and that parlays well next into I think what you do here at the Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through and tell us about what does the Chamber do? I think a lot of people think it's just the Hailey Chamber.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You've got Visit Sun Valley, which is kind of an overarching.
We're good partners with them. Yeah.
So walk me through what the Chamber does, what your role in, and how that kind of affects the valley. And
sure,
and
absolutely. Okay, so the Chamber, we're kind of a three-headed monster. I'll say there's three sort of streams that make up the river of what we do. The first is, which is what people don't necessarily see a lot, and we do a lot of marketing. We team up with Visit Sun Valley really well, and Ray and his team are terrific, and they spend a lot of time marketing further away. They go for the big dollar and the people flying in.
Yeah.
We try to focus a little bit more regionally, and we try to message slightly different. So we use Sun Valley is just part of our messaging campaign. We go into the Wood River Valley. And so it's Hailey, Bellevue, Ketchum, and Sun Valley is how we market. So we're a little bit more holistic and not just about Sun Valley. That's sort of
the whole community.
The whole community in every aspect.
Yep.
And try to balance out how they're messaging and who they reach. And so we do that through a variety of channels. We have our, since it's sitting right here, I guess I can hold it up. We put out the only relocation and visitors guide for the area called Discover Wood River Valley. This has been named best in the country, basically the last 3 years, or amongst the best in the country, best in the Northwest this year. And we get requests to send this every week. They came out on Mondays. For every week. Last year we sent them to 49 states and 12 countries. So this is a big piece that we do, and it has a little bit of everything. If you've moved here or you want to visit here, it has everything in there. But we also distribute them throughout southern Idaho as well. And so that's a way to help plan and think ahead whether you want to move here or you want to visit here. So that's a big thing that we do that locals probably don't see. You're probably not walking into the Hailey or Ketchum Welcome Center and picking up the visitor's guide.
Right.
Or you're going into one of the hotels either here or throughout southern Idaho. So that's a big part we do. We also then, our marketing includes videos. We have a kiosk videos that show at the Boise airport. We do print ads throughout the region. Basically we kind of focus a lot of our energy on northern Utah, Salt Lake up, a little bit of Wyoming, almost like I say, like the smiley face surrounding southern Idaho.
Yeah.
We've been hitting Idaho Falls really hard, and we've seen a lot of growth from that community to visit here. We hit the Treasure Valley, we hit Western and Oregon and Washington.
Yeah. So Visit Sun Valley is those, the LAs, the Seattles, the Chicagos, those markets that they're trying to pull people in
they
from.
really hit hard, and they go for those. We do regional publications, so we're in the Oregon and Washington magazines, and sometimes we're in USA Today, and sometimes we're in LA Times. We do a little bit of that, but that's where they spend most of their, they're going to be in outside, and Ray's really a great photographer, Ray Gadd over there in Sun Valley, so he knows all these big hip magazines that we don't necessarily see. We might be in Ski Magazine, but I'm going to be in Idaho Falls Quarterly or something.
Right.
So, Ray and I used to work together. He was a photographer and I was a writer. We would do stories together, so we got to know each other like that.
Yeah.
But it's a really strong relationship with them so that we can reach everybody. I think there's a misconception about the Wood River Valley that you have to be a millionaire to come and have a good vacation here, but you don't. You can just there's lots of ways to enjoy our community regardless of what your price point is.
Yeah.
And I think that we've teamed up with them and done a good job to let people know about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we as locals, and hopefully the people know and watching this video, I mean, like fly fishing.
Oh yeah.
The mountain biking. Once you have the tools for that, really it's limitless, right?
Totally.
The Nordic skiing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things, the stats will show that we're really high here in the Wood River Valley is if you visit here, you will come back. The return percentages are really high. So the real challenge we have is just to come to Idaho, come to the Wood River Valley, come to Ketchum, come to Hailey, come to Bellevue. And once we get you here, I do like to fish. I do like to hike. I do like to mountain bike. And a couple of aspects that we have great culture here compared to most ski resorts. And even I lived in Taos, which has a lot of history and great culture, but not like us. The gallery scene, the live music, the performance, what's happening at the Liberty Theater and the Argyris are just incredible.
Yeah.
And those quality of life things are huge for us.
That's the thing that I think, as I went out to have these conversations with people, was just to reinforce that community piece, right? Because there are so many options.
There are.
Our dining selection, while we're small, is diverse and really great. And you touched on the arts, like arduous and what they bring to the valley, and even Sun Valley's concert series in the summer. I mean, we just have some incredible stuff. The symphony, and not that I'm a huge, but there's nothing better than going out on a Tuesday afternoon in the summer and just get the lawn chair, parking in the lawn, seeing everybody and just enjoying yourself. So walk me through and tell me a little bit. So you guys are, again, you're in that regional area, really trying to bring in, as you put it, sort of like the people who are drivable to us.
Yeah, we do shoot for fly visitation too, which is what the guides are number one. We hit that, but we want those driving people to make that decision to come up here.
Yeah,
and you don't have to come for a week. Come for a weekend. Having chains like the Fairfield product in Hailey has been huge, because people come here into the Welcome Center in Hailey and say, well, like we decided to use our points. What's there to do around here? We live in Idaho Falls. We live in Jerome. We live in Gooding. We live in Teton, wherever. Yeah. We live in Salt Lake. We've thought of you guys, and it's a free place to stay, and we wanted to come up, and so that's a good thing for us.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of that, and that takes up a huge percentage of my time. The money we get from that comes from the state tourism grant, the bed tax, 2% on tax. So that's a lot of what we do for that. And then the second thing we do, which takes up the rest of our time primarily, is we are essentially the events clearinghouse for Blaine County.
Okay.
We're involved in over 40 events a year. And it's everything from the traditional chamber stuff, like a coffee talk. We just had a Hailey coffee talk at MVP here on Main Street. We've done a bunch of them in Ketchum with the mayor, outgoing Mayor Neal. We do business after hours. We do a lot of ribbon cuttings. But then we also do stuff like we're in charge of the turkey trot that's coming up here in Hailey. We're in charge of all the 4th of July stuff. We help promote Wagon Days. We're really involved in trailing of the sheep. One of the big things for us as an organization and nonprofit is when we look at events, and we're always trying to incubate new events, like the new street party we had, the block party we had in Hailey last April. We're trying to do that in Ketchum all the time, in Bellevue as well. Is this a good event that is going to not only draw tourists and support our tourist-based economy and give us marketing pieces, but it's going to make quality of life for locals better?
Yeah.
That's a big balance for us.
Yeah.
So I have events conversations every week. And sometimes it's just not the right thing for us. So it's really important. We live here too. I think it's interesting when you work in the tourism field in communities like ours, is that fine line. And I do a lot of fishing writing. I wrote the fly fishing guidebook for Sun Valley. So there's that fine line of, here's where to go, but I don't want to tell you my special hole, and I don't want to piss Zach off and tell you his favorite place to go, but here's the general reason to come.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really changed post-COVID in the marketing world for tourism destination marketing organizations like ours is that we now message how to behave and kind of who you're getting to. Don't just come here and expect us to adapt to you. Come here and be part of us. People want to visit and live here because it's a fun, friendly, awesome place.
Yeah.
Don't bring your attitudes and issues with us, right?
Yeah.
We're not changing for you, you change for us.
Yeah.
And as an East Coast Boston guy,
that can be hard, I'm sure.
Yeah, that side still comes out, especially over at the ice rink. But I try to be, so that is, and then finally we do Chamber of Commerce stuff, which is actually the least we do. Like the kind of brown bag lunch and learn things aren't that impressive here. But on a day-to-day basis, I've had 5 phone calls already today about everything under the sun. Our motto here is that we're here to help. So we have about 400 members. So whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit, you're a big company, you're a small company, you're a governmental agency, we can help. And we do have good relationship with most of the mayors and the governmental bodies, from the State House down to the Bellevue City Council. So we can help behind the scenes in that way too. And the one other thing is this job is never boring.
There's always something going on.
There's always something going on. There's always somebody who needs some help.
Yeah. With 400 members, I would assume that.
And like I say too, I go home every night at the end of the day, and I sometimes go, I don't even know what happened today, but I know I helped. I made some kind of positive difference in the community.
Help somebody out there. Yeah. What's been something surprising? So you've been in the director role for how long?
7 years.
7 years.
Almost 7 years.
What's been a surprise to you in the last 7 years running this? Is there anything that stands out? You're like, I didn't know that came with this, or
I didn't understand how much marketing and the challenges of dealing with the grants, because all these our revenue sources are primarily grants funding, and all the challenges of trying to use a $250,000, $300,000 state grant to market, and how do you get to play that? This has been a learning curve for me for nonprofit, restricted funds, unrestricted funds. I had a little bit of a nonprofit background, which helped, and I do think that helps us. I guess the biggest surprising thing to me is it's how tough it is now to keep employees. I mean, I always knew it was tough, but I just weekly have new conversations with people, and it's just, I think I'm always a little bit surprised at how tough it is. I know it's tough to keep employees here, but it's always surprising to me.
Yeah.
How places that seem like they should be killing it are still struggling, and then you get to see the behind the scenes impact. You can forget how tough it is. If why did the service stink at my favorite restaurant today? Well, you had to get rid of the sous chef for whatever reason, and that the behind the scenes, and you get to see that with whether it's the post office or some of these bigger organizations, because we are trying to help in any way we see the behind the scenes, and just how widespread staffing challenges are is still surprising to me, coming out of COVID when it seemed like we had a good bump on that. But
well, I think I think our numbers, per the census, say we're up as far as per capita bodies, but I don't know if that might have just been people that haven't traded, like they bought homes, have left. But
that has been a big thing that's happened here in places like Jackson Hole in the post-COVID. The average locals income base has gone dramatically up, but a lot of that income isn't based on what they're bringing in our community. So Jackson and these other ski towns, and part of what the chamber, I get to connect with other chambers all over the West, and through the state helps us with that too. But I see that we're all having some of those same issues, that we want people to move here who don't have to work here, but we still need people who need to work here to keep the community running.
I'm sure it's a really thin line. So you do have connections to those other resort markets.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And part of that, I also like to throw SVED, Sun Valley Economic Development, give them a shout out too, because we team up with them.
They put out some fantastic numbers.
They do, and Harry's been terrific, and they have a new executive director who I've met already. And we try to be everything for everybody, but we can't. So we try to have these great partnerships with Visit Sun Valley, with SVED, with many of the nonprofits here, to try to make sure that we can be as helpful as we can. But yeah.
So as the director, where do you see kind of the valley in the next 1, 3, 5 years? What do you see transpiring here?
I think for the South Valley has had a lot of change recently with more people moving. So I think Hailey and Bellevue are going to become more vibrant. You're going to see more businesses, which Hailey now has more businesses than the North Valley.
Well, the Mountain Express just had that right, where it is finally.
Yeah, it's finally switched the last few years, but now it's not just people just sort of staying at home and working at home. It's actual businesses are popping in here. So I think with more people living in the South Valley, you're going to start to see the quality of life and the offerings go up. And a little more trickle up economics, which is finally happening. Hailey Ice certainly has helped out. The ice rink on the weekends in the winter, packs and people.
I sat down with Sarah. Sarah was very generous. Was my first interview.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay, good. I've seen many of them.
The impact that I think the rink has had on Hailey,
monstrous.
Yeah.
We had one hotel basically when that opened 10 years ago.
And she doesn't know the actual economic impact. She said they've tried to, pull those numbers, but just being a hockey coach, right? Our kids are in the program. We know when we host a tournament, that does. What the Suns on a Friday, Saturday night.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And see, that actually helps get us we get tax revenue from heads and beds here in the South Valley with the chamber, and because the heads and bed numbers have been going up dramatically since the ice rink opened up, we see it. Yeah, it's hard to totally pinpoint that.
So you go back to that question because I kind of took us off. So you do see the South Valley, the businesses are growing.
Yep.
It sounds like lifestyle overall will
continue to improve. The perfect example is with the Hailey Rocks event, because for years the chamber was teaming up with the city trying to get a summer event like Ketchum Alive or Boise's Live After 5 kind of deal. They have them all over the place. And we just sort of struggled to get it. We kind of did little flirts with it in different things. And a few years ago, Sawtooth Brewery, the chamber, we all teamed up and said, let's just try it again. And we didn't have a stage. We had nothing. It was just over there at Hot Porter Park, but it was good enough that by the end of the year, the city goes, I think we can get some grant funding. So they got grant funding. We were able to put a stage. And now I go to both Ketchum Alive and Hailey Rocks, but I go to a lot of Hailey Rocks since I can walk to it.
Yeah.
And that is a huge event that 4 years ago we couldn't even put on.
Yeah.
And now it's a monstrous thing all summer.
Very cool.
So that is cool. And I do think the overall health, traditionally we've been a trickle-down economics community, right? Where everything's going up to Sun Valley and Ketchum and literally trickling down elevation and down valley here.
Yeah.
We're seeing a better balance to that.
Okay.
But we also have to do a better job of making sure, since we're having more people in abundance down here in the South Valley, that we remind people to still go up and hang out at all the great Ketchum restaurants and hang out in Sun Valley and still support that, because that is ultimately our bread and butter in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it seems like it's often it's the heartbeat, right? It kind of pulls it in and pushes it out. I think you see that in the traffic every single morning.
Oh, you see that in traffic for sure.
Yeah. People
so that
going
is
north.
Absolutely. So that's sort of I think that how do we continue to support the whole, be completely holistic and support everybody.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's a little more strength and more balance than we've probably historically.
Well, and again, you had mentioned it, prior to us talking, was some people have a view of Sun Valley as, oh, well, that's just that's not for me.
No.
Right. But then when you ask, like, hey, what's your experience with you just Wood River Valley in place of Sun Valley? And they go, oh, what a great place that is.
Yeah, because we do have variety for everyone. But historically, people, when we've done studies of our drive-to market, they think of, if you say Ketchum and Sun Valley first, a lot of the Southern Idahoans Northern Utahns will say, oh, that's Glitter Gulch, and I got to have a lot of wealth to be there. And that's certainly a good part of what we do, but there is something for everyone, like we talked about earlier. And one of the reasons we market so hard in Idaho Falls, Twin, and the Treasure Valley is all that growth that's come in there.
Yeah.
All the new people, they're not coming in with that old Idaho attitude, like, oh, forget those guys.
Yeah.
And we see this, you show up with Sun Valley Suns and you go, oh, those guys, you get that attitude.
Yeah.
But, and maybe some of it's deserved, but most people I know who live and grow up here are wonderful human beings and they're great Idahoans. And I think that the more we can message that and be welcoming to all these new people who've moved to our state, they come up here, they have a great time. Nothing beats word of mouth, as you know. I can spend all the money making videos and print and being on radio and TV, social media, what have you. Nothing beats them coming and you're coming and hanging out with you and go, this is a great time.
Absolutely. And they tell one friend.
Yeah. The number one driver for overnight stays in Idaho still continues to be friends and family visiting.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily always pay the bed tax because maybe they're staying at your house, but they're the ones who come and say, this is amazing. And I want to move here and I want to live here and I want to visit here, have a second home and that kind of stuff. And when that is happening, it makes our job a lot easier.
Awesome. How do people connect and plug in with the chamber?
Valleychamber.org is our website. It does pretty well. Easy to find. Our offices are here at the Welcome Center in Hailey, which is right next to Hailey Ice.
Awesome.
And we are just a phone call away. 788-3484 is a good place to get us. And as you know, I'm all over town half the time anyways. So I think I do half my job either at the supermarket or at the ice house. But at valleychamber.org, you can swing on by and see us. We're in the Welcome Center here 9 to 4 Monday through Fridays. An easy way to reach out to us. Another thing too, is I know with the real estate world is these visitor relocation guides, we use state grant funding to distribute them. So if you guys say, hey, I have someone who's interested in buying a house in Florida and Texas, where have you, just let me know and I can send them one.
Okay, awesome.
That's a good thing too, but
All right. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that we should have?
I don't think so. I just think we're looking forward to another good winter here. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
It is hard to believe though, because I don't know when we'll put this video out, but it is November 17th and it looks closer to May 17th.
It does, although I'm in charge of the Turkey Trot race course. And so when it doesn't snow on Thanksgiving, there's one guy in town who's happy, and that's me.
Well, Mike, I appreciate the time. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thank you.